A simple delivery job turned into the most terrifying night of my life. I was sent to drop off a package at a remote mansion. But what I found there was something I'll never forget, and something that's still haunting me to this day. I've been working as a late-night delivery driver for an online shopping company for months, and most of the time, my job is uneventful. Just drop the package, take a photo, and go. But one night, something strange happened. I had one last delivery way outside town limits, to a small old house surrounded by woods. The road was barely lit, and I couldn't even find the house on the map. It was just a GPS pin at the end of a dirt path. As I drove down the path, the trees seemed to close in around me, casting long, ominous shadows on the ground. The only sound was the crunch of gravel beneath my tires and the occasional hoot of an owl in the distance. When I finally arrived, there were no lights on, no cars outside, just a porch light flickering like it hadn't been fixed in years. The house itself looked abandoned, with broken shutters and a front door that seemed to be hanging off its hinges. I got out, placed the box at the doorstep, and just as I was about to take the delivery photo, the door creaked open by itself. I called out, thinking someone might be expecting the package, but no one replied. The silence was deafening, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. I quickly snapped the photo and turned back, but as I did, I heard footsteps behind me on the wooden porch. I spun around, but there was no one there. The footsteps stopped, and the silence was even more oppressive than before. I froze, my heart racing, as I waited for something to happen, but nothing did. The door just stood there, open and inviting, like a mouth waiting to swallow me whole. I didn't even bother looking back again. I sprinted to my car, heart racing, engine barely turning over at first. As I drove off, I checked my side mirror. There was someone standing in the road, watching me leave. The figure was still, just standing there, and somehow, they looked exactly like me. Same hoodie, same posture. I stared until I had to swerve the wheel to avoid hitting a tree. When I looked again, they were gone. I didn't report it. Who would believe me? But the scariest part? The delivery app still says the package is waiting to be picked up. I tried to brush it off as a glitch, but the feeling of unease lingered. I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just delivered something to a place that didn't exist, to someone who wasn't human. As the days went by, I started to notice strange things. The app would send me notifications at odd hours, telling me that I had a new delivery to make. But when I would arrive at the location, there would be no one there, no package to deliver. It was as if the app was playing a twisted game with me, sending me on wild goose chases to places that didn't exist. And then there were the dreams. I would dream that I was back at the old house, standing on the porch, waiting for something to happen. But in the dreams, the door would open, and I would see a figure standing inside. A figure that looked exactly like me. The dreams would leave me feeling shaken and disturbed, and I would wake up with a sense of dread that lingered throughout the day. I knew that I had to do something, but I didn't know what. I was trapped in a nightmare, and I didn't know how to wake up. As the nights went by, the deliveries became more frequent. The app would send me to places that were farther and farther away, to houses that seemed to be abandoned and forgotten. And each time, I would feel a sense of unease, a sense that I was being watched and waited for. I knew that I had to stop, but I couldn't. The app had a hold on me, and I was powerless to resist. I was a pawn in a game that I didn't understand, a game that was being played by forces that were beyond my comprehension. And I knew that if I didn't find a way to escape, I would be trapped forever, delivering packages to places that didn't exist, to people who weren't human.